we're right close to Gainesville, where the University of Florida is. So without without the university being in this area, we'd be just be really, really, really country. But outside of Gainesville, where the campus is really rural and really red. And
Wow.
the university is makes it appear that it's blue, but it's like a little small blue dot in this sea of red.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Mm-hmm.
Knoxville is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, folks. So I'm not gonna hold y'all for super long. I wanted us to have this
Did
conversation. Go
Stanley,
ahead.
What are
did
we
you
meeting about? I just saw the Zoom thing and the
Like
link, and
I'm
I'm like,
going,
okay.
I'm going, I'm showing up. Okay. Well, what I wanted to is kind of give some information about um the fellowships because they did approve another round of them. So
Hmm.
in the past they let us know that it was in I want to say like November and then it was due in January. Well, I was looking so that I could send out that information and then we found out that they didn't get funded. Well, it just came out in like the last week and a half that the funding came back through. Like so they
That's
no
because they
longer
got that big $135 million donation from somebody.
The Mellon
Mellon,
Foundation
exactly. Yep.
came back and is reawarding it. Um so that's what I wanted to make sure that we had that information. You guys that are eligible can put it in your calendar and that you can ask any questions that you might have. So I am live on YouTube. If at any point in this you guys decide you want to read a poem or whatever, then we'll push it out afterwards. But I did want this just to be about us for right now. So
I do have a question, Red. Can past poet laureates apply, or is it only for current poet laureates?
if you have been a poet laureate since January 31st, 2024, so like
Okay.
I'm not eligible.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not eligible either.
Right, right. Um, but I do have some other things that you probably
Okay,
are
all right.
eligible for. So yeah, I wanted to make sure this was just like an information session. So I'm going to share the screen real fast. All of this is on their website, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a $50,000 award, uh, and it's due April 8th for 2024. So you got a little bit of time, but you really want to make sure that you go ahead and start getting certain things now. Okay, so I'm pretty sure all of us are 21 or older. Um, that you're the official poet laureate of a state, city, county, U.S. territory, or tribal nation. Um, even a state arts or humanities council. Uh, that you were named by the tribe president, mayor, city council, city poet laureate commission, city arts board, county arts board, whatever. Okay, this is where it talks about the service right there. So Ashley and Stan, I think you both are eligible for this. And then anybody else that watches this later, uh, make sure that you know that your time is between those dates. Okay. Um, Now here's number four is the sketchy part, right? So it says that you have to have been published and not self-published. And it says, or substantial history of published spoken word performances. So hopefully you have been keeping track of your spoken word performances if you're not like a page poet that has published books. If not, go ahead because you want all of that on your resume. I'm going to show
So
you guys.
I'm not sure if you know because I've never been actually the one publication that I did, it was self published and I think it's really good. But hey, um,
So
but
what you're going to want to do is on your resume is you're going to want to show a good history of spoken word performances.
mhm. And when you say a good history, do they want like um video documentation, links to spoken word events, or just a list of your performances?
You can include a link, excuse me, a link to like a clippings.me that has like some video footage, but they don't really ask for video footage.
Okay.
Okay.
So that you want to, when you say a substantial history, what are they looking for as documentation or proof of that?
Hang on, because I'm gonna show you. Ba, 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 da, ba.
And you applied. I know I applied early on when I was first appointed back in maybe 2020, and then didn't. I wanted to make sure I put together a really good um, the next, I guess, application. And
Mhm.
so I didn't apply last time. I said I figured I was going to apply this year, and I'm like, I looked up and it was December. I'm like, they're not going to have it again, isn't
Yeah,
that? And so I was happy to
that
get,
that was what happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't get funding until.
right. So I got the email that they had gotten funded. I'm just the
So,
application. And I know this application is a little different too because it's specifically asking for youth stuff,
oh, is it? Well, that's a good
Hmm.
thing.
huh?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's specifically
Yes.
asking for your program.
Mm-hmm.
So you're showing your application,
Yeah, this is my resume.
my resume.
Yeah, so and this is the way Angelo is the one who kind of gave me some direction on how to set up my resume here, because he got it the very first year.
Mhm.
So
Can you blow it up?
can I make it bigger? Sure, I think I
Yeah,
can.
big. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So this is just, that, but then like this list of just
Mhm.
the years and what you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Slow it down.
So like your workshops and everything, that somebody else may have brought you to do,
Mhm.
um, you would want to put up here. These are all things that I organize myself. Um, I probably should have put, the organization or whatever who, like I don't know, maybe that's why I didn't
Mm.
get it. If I remember correctly, Angelo's looked very similar to this. So
Okay. That's
yeah.
helpful.
Um, and then my performance experience,
Mhm.
and I made sure that I included something from every year.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. Cool.
I went all the way back to when I first started doing poetry slams.
Okay.
You've
Um,
been busy.
yeah, I have. And then all of your media,
Okay.
like the times you've been in the news. If you can put links to stuff, it's good, so
Mhm.
they can click on it and see it. If you've been on a podcast, all of that stuff. And
Okay.
then if you don't like you said, you don't have any published works. Like my first books were self-published, so that's why there's nothing over here. But like, let's say you've been published in a newspaper or in an anthology
Mhm.
family, you have been published, right? You're in the anthology.
Okay.
And Ashley,
Yeah,
you're.
yeah, I've been published in some other
Mhm,
um say for instance, here I am. I'm googling something, and I see in the blind spot of memory, right?
mhm,
And I see this whole article about in the blind. It starts off in the blind spot of memory, and I'm saying to myself, this sounds familiar, but I can't really put my finger on it. In the blind spot of memory, so then I start reading the article, and they're quoting me. That's why it's familiar. But it's
okay.
from it's from it's from um, um, University of Alabama at Birmingham,
Mhm,
and their lynching memorial, and they're talking about this just gentleman that was lynched, and they have um, this whole essay or write up about the lynching victim, and they used a poem that Samuel Proctor Oral History Program at the University of Florida. I guess shared this YouTube link when I recited the poem in in Newberry at the lynching ground were for lynching victims and everything. And I guess they saw it and included in their work at University of Alabama at Birmingham. So is
I
that
I would definitely include that in my media, right?
okay?
Mhm.
A question.
Yeah.
I am in the process of being published, like under contract, but don't have it yet. Is that something that I would put to, or how would
Yeah.
you say that it's like
I
in
would, I would,
process?
I would just put coming in 2024 or something
Okay.
like that, and then
Okay,
put the
cool.
title of the book
Cool.
and who's
Perfect.
going to publish it. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So there's that. Um,
And
so
there's the young lady the from she's from Carolina. She's recently joined the group. I can't think of her name. I think she got the fellowship last year. I think.
yeah, I think I know who you're talking
Is
about.
She
that
just
Kaniki?
no, not Kaniki.
Kaneki got it two
The
years
year
ago.
Okay.
before, I think.
So so then you would go to submittable, and so I guess they're looking for your curriculum vitae. That's what I just showed you guys. That's the 3 pages. You want to make sure use all 3 pages. So Samaj talked to me this last time, and she was saying if they gave you a limit, make sure you go to their limit. So
Mhm.
don't like give them less than what they asked for. So if they say 3 pages, try and give them the whole 3 pages. Um, a 5 page sample.
Isn't that new?
Yeah, that is definitely new.
Mhm.
So here it says performance or spoken word poets may submit a document with links to audio or video. So this is where I would do a clippings.me. And if y'all have never done a clippings.me before, it's actually
Mm-mm.
pretty dope.
Things that-
Um, nope, that's not the right one. Go figure, I don't know my own clippings.me. Okay, I know. That's right, sunshine. Poetry. Uh-oh, like a spell. No, that's not it. Okay, Ray. Don't know your own me. Okay. Mm-mm. There it is. Okay. Save it. Yes, because I keep messing up. Okay, so if you go, it's like an online resume. So like
Hmm.
I have everything here, and then your portfolio is down here.
Oh
So
wow, I
I have
love that.
Cool.
artist resume. I've got like my pay scale right here because I use this for everybody. I send it out to businesses and everything.
Mm.
So I've got my corporate, my pay scale, and all of that. My actual poet laureate page that the city set up for me, which on ours it has a list of everything that we did while we were poet laureate. So it has like a calendar,
Ooh.
a running calendar, and then I have performance videos in here, and then I also have links to my books.
Nice. That's nice.
And
And this is clippings.me.
clippings.me is free for the first 10 things that you want to put on your portfolio.
Mm.
First 10 things.
Uh-huh. So
So
like
like each of those blocks would represent a thing, right? Right,
yeah, so
Ray?
one yeah, so I've got 10 on here now.
Okay.
And so how long you had this?
I like it.
I've had
Yeah,
this
it's great.
for a couple years now.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anytime they tell me I can only include one link,
Hmm.
I include this because then it's going to give you so much more than just like so I have my short video reel here. I have my full length show right here. If you wanted to watch the whole show, you could go here and watch the whole show.
I mean, what is your show?
Called When a Teacher Breaks Free. It's a
Hmm.
one woman show, and it's like my journey out of the education system, and it makes the education system like the Matrix. So I'm
Hmm.
like breaking out of the Matrix.
Cool.
And then just another one of my poems that everybody likes. It's After Black. Um, and then
So I can go to this and find this,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
you got to send it to
I'll
me.
no, I'll put it in the I'll put it in the chat so you guys can
Okay.
get to it.
Yeah, thank you. That's so cool.
It's absolutely.
All right.
See, Ray, if I didn't love you like I do, I would say you have been holding out on us.
I never that, never. I'm always, trying to make sure I share as much information with y'all as I can. Um, so
I
that's
really like
mine.
that.
But if you
Yeah.
just go to clippings.me and you sign up,
Mhm.
you can do your own. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's for the Academy of American Poets.
Mhm.
Now, Stan, I know you already have a not-for-profit. Ashley,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if you do or not, or if you just have a fiscal sponsor. Um,
Um, yeah, no, I don't have anything. I think there's folks that I can like umbrella under.
okay, okay.
Um, because
A sponsor,
before,
yeah.
yeah, before when I applied, they didn't ask for any of that
No,
at
you
all.
don't need it. You don't need it for that.
Okay.
But what I'm about to show you is another grant that's out there.
Ooh, okay.
Uh-oh, if I can spell. Okay, so there's an equity and burst,
Hmm,
and it's for poets of color. It ranges from $10,000 to $100,000.
nice.
Okay, they do it twice a year. So one deadline coming up is March 1st. The next one is September 1st. So it's twice a year,
I like this one.
and it's the Poetry Foundation does it because they received letters saying that they weren't having balanced usage of poets of color. So, but they're for nonprofit poetry and literary
Mhm.
organizations. So, Stan, you already are in place to do this. So, like you were looking for that money for your festival,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is one of the places that you can go to get that money.
Okay, great.
Um, but for those of us who don't, you can have a fiscal sponsor.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Um, and if you want to do a fiscal sponsor, then you do it down here and you do it under their poetry programs, partnerships, and innovations. And so you
Cool.
partner with the organization to broaden their audience for poetry, right? So
Hmm,
then you can write that for up to 75,000, right? And same deadlines on that one.
okay.
So this just in case you're not a poet laureate anymore, there's still money out there for what we're doing as poets.
Hmm,
Cool, cool.
Um, and then there is National Arts. Okay. Now this one, I think is coming up soon, right? Um,
Did you watch the summit?
no, I did. Okay. Grants for Arts, because they did this one based off of where you live. This one might have already passed because it was for this that the different regions were giving out money for one. Um, Designated local arts agencies eligible to sub-grant can request from 30,000 to 150,000. See, and let's see, when is this one due? So like your local organization that put you in place, like for me, it was our Arts and Culture Alliance. They can apply for this and then give you more money as your stipend, right? So
Oh,
that's if you are in good with them, definitely let them know about this and help out with that process. Um, I'm trying to see deadlines, application
Now
time.
you were saying about the local arts agency, they will, is it like you said supplement or something, or what?
Well, okay, so this is one of the bigger grants, and so they want like local arts agencies to apply and then give their money out, right? So
Okay.
like for me in Knoxville, they only give a $3,000 stipend, and I've been trying to get them to up it to $10,000. This is a grant that they could use to support increasing that amount.
So you're saying where you are and not you're in Knoxville?
Right now, I live in Oak Ridge, but I was poet laureate of Knoxville.
How far is Knoxville from Nashville?
From Nashville, 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Why?
My baby girl is at Meharry.
Oh, okay.
She
Well, let me
just
know if
went
you
there
ever come to the
on
state. We'll,
huh?
I said, let me know if you ever come to the state. We'll bring you
I'm gonna
up.
be up there. We gotta come see her. So she moved on New Year's, and then she got snowed in because it was all cold up there and everything.
Mhm.
And but she's up there
Okay.
at the medical college. So
I went to Fisk, Stan, in the 4 years that I was there, they didn't have as much snow as they had in that one snowstorm.
oh
You're
man,
right.
she was like snowed in and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
they gotta close it down for 4 inches, man.
Oh yeah, they're
and
closing
we
Now
had
everything
where
down.
I
She
live,
every,
we
because of
had
the
eight
78, we had 18 feet over the course of, some months.
so
we had
Crazy.
eight
we not
inches
used
of
to we
snow.
not used to that cold, man.
We had eight
I know
inches
that's
of
right.
snow and everything was shut down. We was trapped in the house for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
I'm
Right.
sure it gets where you are in Colorado.
yeah. Oh, it was a snowstorm yesterday, and it's blue skies and sun, and everything melts. So I'm used to it all, but lots of snow.
That's like New England too. You don't like the weather, just wait a day, it'll change.
Yep.
So this is great information, Rhea. I really thank you for this. And back to this, so like you were talking about where you are, and because our local arts agency um, only gives out for the county. They just started a mini grant, and it's only for $2,500, something like that. And so this year I got on the grant thing and I was able to get a few $2,500 grants. So I got about three of those. I got one from the state. I just got notified last week that they approved my because I didn't want to write it for two. I was, just all nervous about, and it's got to be a matching also. So and then I
Oh,
got one
okay.
from the local library. The local library agency gave me $2,500, and then I got another 2,500 from the county arts agency.
Okay.
So
And because you're in the South, I'm gonna tell you about this one. Sorry if you guys aren't in the South, but it's called Alternate Roots. And if you're a member of Alternate Roots, they give out grants all the time. They give out money. I just got a $5,000 grant from them to do some poetry workshops for our next on stage presentation.
Hmm.
So it's called Alternate Roots. And then
and where are they? They're in
they're they're
Atlanta.
they're based in Atlanta, but they cover all of the southern states. And so then let me see the regional arts organizations. This is the other ones. Okay. So I know for us it's South Arts, but you just need to figure out the arts here. There it is. I knew it.
Hi.
This one is this is a grant that they just finished up. They're gonna do another round of it, right? Um, and so you just got to be ready for it. But it's for the region, right? And so like for me, it's South Arts. I'm trying to see what's the other regions. What are the name of the ones so that I can tell you guys where yours is? Find your, there it is. Okay, so um, Ashley, yours is probably
Hmm.
Midwest. Is that what you think?
Western? I think I'm Western.
Or okay, Western States Arts Federation. So check them out
Okay.
because they'll be giving out grants.
Cool.
And then New England Foundation for the Arts, NEFA, they give out so much money, Terry. There's no reason you shouldn't be
And
like NEFA gives out money to people in the South.
who was
So
that?
NEFA, New England Foundation for the Arts. Terry not listening to me no more. I'm telling him how to get money. He's in Boston, yeah, Massachusetts. So they do, oh my goodness, they are amazing. So, and you want everybody check out NIFA because they do the National Theater Project. And if you have like a show, like even if it's poetry based, but it's on stage, they will fund 80,000 to 130,000.
Hmm.
So NIFA is one of the ones. It's a regional, but it hits up all of the U.S.
Before you go,
Hmm.
before we leave today, is anyone here? And there was something on Facebook about workshops and people who shouldn't do workshops. I'm not sure if anybody saw it. I think
Did not.
it was they were like bashing people for doing like workshops or not doing workshops, and the people who shouldn't be doing workshops. I'm not sure what they were. I guess the people who were engaged in the conversation knew what they were talking about. I'm
Hmm.
like out of the loop. So, but apparently there are people giving workshops who shouldn't be giving workshops. I guess I don't know. But what I wanted to ask, and this is not my wheelhouse, and I do some workshops, but normally I have uh, someone working with me. We
Hmm.
do a lot of text and image workshops with poetry prompts and a lot of artwork. And the artwork part of it, I don't really know because they do a lot of different mediums. My colleague is an art history professor at UF, but I just was recently invited to Canada to do workshops. So one of the art teachers here at the local school here in Gainesville, they relocated to Canada. He and his wife got a job, so now he's working in the public school system in Canada.
Okay.
And so we did a project at his school a couple years ago, and now he
Hmm.
wants to invite me up to do a workshop. And I, when it comes to like kids, I
Hmm.
do work with kids, but normally I have someone with me who's actually trained in the classroom
Hmm.
because I'm old school and see when I was growing up, you could put your hands on kids and say stuff to kids and talk, tell a kid to sit down or shut up or be quiet, that kind of, what I'm saying about it. It's a generational thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like really timid around children. Like, can you say this? Can you not say this? Can you look at them like this? You know, really. So, but I want to do I'm going to go up and do a poetry spoken word workshop, and
Okay.
just want to know if anybody has any ideas about how to uh, fill a day with a workshop, and then maybe have at the ending have a spoken word event. Any ideas from anybody? You
Okay.
can
Okay.
tell me
Okay.
now or send it to me on email, or we can talk about it on another link. Um,
How old
if you
are
got
the
any
kids?
ideas.
Yeah, I was
Hmm?
gonna say how
What's
old are the
the
kids?
age range for the
I
kids?
think they're not going to be like middle and high school students.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
no. I mean
I'm
that's
that'll
doing
be.
I'm doing a workshop with my daughter with like elementary school children.
Hmm.
hmm
The library district asked me to do a Black History program
hmm
with elementary children, and I got my daughter. One of my daughters, I got five daughters. I got one of my daughters who's a second grade teacher. For her to come, you're gonna do this. I'll be with you, and
hmm
you got a master's in this stuff, so you can with these little kids. So I'll just be there standing up as a poet laureate, and you could be the expert teacher, and I'll let you handle this. So
Well, when it comes down to middle school and high schoolers, uh, I would just say you give them a series of prompts. One of my favorites is I come from, um, and let them write the poem.
you said where I come from.
Yeah. And and I also, whenever I do workshops with students, I also give them an example, right? So, um, that's the big thing about is modeling in education, right? So you always want to model what you want them to do. So I already have like an I come from poem prepared to read to them. It don't have to be one of your best poems or anything because you want their creativity to ride as well. So
Hmm.
or um, you could even read them somebody else's I come from poem. Like if you wanted to bring in, because it's Black History, if you wanted to do Langston Hughes's Mother to Son, that's really a I come from poem, right?
Hmm.
His mom saying, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. This is where I came from. This is what I dealt with. But this is where this is what I'm teaching you, son, of how to overcome these things of where I come from. So you could, talk about, like, bring in an older poem, not necessarily yours, and then tell them they're going to write a similar poem. They're going to write an I come from poem, and they can bring in where their mother comes from. They could bring in any of that, because that all goes into who they are. And so I come from is one of the prompts I love to do with kids, just because it really gets them thinking about their personal story, and you're able to kind of dig in deep on that one. Another one that's fun is I tell them they have to write a poem where every line follows the letters of the alphabet. And that's the only rule that I'm going to give them. So then
That's one of
it's
my faves.
yeah, then it's so funny how they, do that. Some kids only do one word per line, and some kids start every line, but they follow the letters. They just don't give them any rules. Let them go, and you only give them like 5 minutes to do it. And so some kids aren't going to get finished, some are not. It's a fun way to just get them started writing.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else do I do with these babies? Um, Um, I do a T chart, where I have them write on their paper a T chart. And at the top, I tell them to write something that they hate on one side and something that they love on the other side. And then they write 2 list poems, and they fuse those together, right? So they list the things that they love. They list all the reasons why they love it. And then they have the thing that they hate. They list all the reasons they hate it. And then I have them fuse those 2 poems together and see what happens, right? Um, and then finally, I do a list poem that doesn't turn into a list poem. So I tell them to write a list of 10 things. It could be anything. If we're talking about Black history, you'd be like 10 things you remember about Black history. And then 10 reasons you love Black people, or you love being Black, depending on, your audience, right? And then I tell them to write 5 funny facts, right? And so they can write 5 funny things about their family, or their Black experience, whatever. And then I tell them they're numbered, and they're going to write a line, and they pull one line from here, one line from here, one line from here, one line from here, and then they pull one of the funny lines. Then they just keep working their way down the list until they have 4.
Okay.
I know I gave you a whole lot of stuff.
No, that's good. Thank you. No, really, thank you. I mean, yeah, thank you.
You're definitely welcome.
Something that works really well, I work a lot with high schoolers and middle schoolers,
Mhm.
is just celebration. So the way that I run workshops is like I have them say their name first, and then we cheer for them before they even like read their poem, to signify like your name is the most important. It doesn't matter if you get scared and like decide to go back down, or if you don't like it. But the way that like young people love to scream, like you already get them on their side, and there's this like camaraderie that happens, because it's super scary, and to sort of dispel this myth of like this isn't that good, I don't know, like the qualifying that just naturally happens. So that's been a really great tool, is to work in celebration in some way. And yeah, I think bringing in a poem, or you performing, or giving them that example has been really helpful, for folks. I do a lot of stuff with the senses. So like picking a topic or an emotion, and then describing it using all of their senses, especially for our like younger babes. There's so much richness in senses. And so you get this like really cool poem with a lot of vocabulary, that I don't think elementary schools realize they have. But yeah, they have all of this sensory input. So that's a really good one to ease folks into, of like, you have everything, just thinking about your senses. And one for like older kids is I do a topic that's like taboo. Like, I don't know, I'm also a therapist, so I used to do this a lot for therapy, but like, let's talk about sex, or let's talk about drugs, or let's talk about relationships. And so everyone shares one word that goes into that category. Then you create a word bank, And then you have to write about that topic without using those words and find out new ways to talk about that specific thing, to give like a deeper expanse of it, also to talk about what does silencing look like in terms of topics. But that's always fun when you're like, and now you can't use those words, and they're like, Wah! So I think the more sort of like sort of tricks and turns and things like that just to keep them engaged, I think has always really worked. And I predominantly work with young folks in terms of poetry, and yeah, it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, we work with a lot of you. I just we matter of fact we have our we're going to celebrate. Art Speaks is going to celebrate their 10th anniversary of Courageous Young Voices coming up on March 10th. So we've been doing and I make sure that everyone knows it's not a slam or competition, just a space where young people can come and express themselves. So we're going to celebrate 10 years of doing that. But normally, I get a young lady about like yourself, normally Brittany Coleman, and I've had several young ladies through the years, but Brittany's been with me for quite a while now, and she's also a mental health counselor for the county, and so and a spoken word artist. So she's great with the young people, and it's good to have a mental health person in the space because the stuff can get really, really, really heavy.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the last thing I did want to share, and I think I put it in one of our chats, but there is uh, there's this thing called Teacher Pay Teachers. Because I think somebody had asked about how much should they charge for a workshop or something like that on
Oh
one
yeah,
of
that's yeah. Oh yeah, thank you because that's what they're asking me for a fee, for a fee. I'm like, okay, what should I, you know?
um oh yeah. So I'll go back and I'll show you my what you call again for how much I charge for a workshop. But this is a lot of times teachers are like, oh, I don't have that money, but I still want you in my classroom. Like I still want to use the lesson that you did or whatever. You can go to Teachers Pay Teachers, create an account, and you can upload like your workshop that you're talking about, Ashley, and if you have like manipulatives or handouts and things like that, you package it and then
Mm-hmm.
you sell it. And then teachers can just buy it. So that way, teachers all over the world use Teachers Pay Teachers. I know teachers that make $40,000 to $60,000 a year just off of their units on um on
Look
Teachers
at
Pay
Ashley's
Teachers.
looking like,
I'm telling you, it's so crazy. Um,
Wow.
you like this one, and it's probably not even good. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but um, this is a slam poetry unit plan, $22, and she's she's probably sold quite a bit of them. But
Wow.
it's 258 pages, and it includes slides and everything. And a teacher who wants to teach a unit on slam poetry will come through and be like, "Oh, it's $22," and I don't have to do any prep,
Wow.
right? But if you get 100 teachers to do that,
Right. Wow. I'm learning so much today. Thank you.
so yeah. And then so like hers, which is just kind of cool. Hers, you can also break it down. So you can buy the whole bundle, or you can buy individual parts, right? So that's what I've started working on because I had a teacher reach out and was like, I really want to go over this poem with my students. And I don't have you in the classroom, but we want to go over this poem that I heard you read with the symphony orchestra.
Mhm.
Can you send me that poem? I
oh
told her,
hey,
yeah.
you read with the symphony orchestra?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I'm kind of in the woods too, but that's one of my things that I really want to do, is read with the orchestra, and I just did some stuff on stage a few last month. I got a saxophonist to
Okay.
because most of my poems I'm right to jazz in my head, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's music always there, but I've never had uh, the kind of music I wanted to accompany. I had this young guy uh, accompany on stage at one of the premier hardwood soundstage in Gainesville, um, and it was really cool. So I want to do more of that. But one of my things is to the orchestras are all mostly uh,
Mhm.
not people of color who control the
Very,
orchestras and
very
everything.
much not.
So it's been difficult trying to get them to like, hey, let's do this thing.
Um,
So
okay, so this is what, let's see.
I just had a release party last night for the jazz and poetry CD that I did with a trio, a keyboard player, um, a bass player, and a drummer. It's called the
mhm,
Ally Project, and
okay,
they're three white guys, and I'm the black poet that they came looking for. Um,
okay,
but it was the CD's available on my website. I'm telling you, it's fly.
okay,
I ain't even gonna half step on that one. It's fly because these boys can play. You know
right, right,
they you
right.
know
Yeah.
they're not slouches. They can get loose. And the jazz is really really good, and it really dovetails beautifully into the music. And I call it we met at the intersection of jazz and social justice. So,
Mhm.
they're the jazz voices. I'm the social justice voice, and it's hitting. It's hitting. But I
What?
feel you, Stan, because I was looking for that hookup for a couple years, and the leader of this group, he called me out of blue sky, said he had heard some of my stuff somewhere. I can't even remember where, and he said he wanted to, get together and talk about maybe doing some jazz and poetry. So we've done 3 jazz festivals, local jazz festivals together, and we finally decided, to get the fellas together, go into the studio and record a chump. And so it's done. We had the release last night. It was nice.
And I can find it
Nice.
where? Where can I find it?
You can find it at
And
www.brownskinpoet.net. I should just put it in the Ray, you gonna put it in the chat or you want me to put it in the chat?
you can put it in there. I'm
Okay.
I
about
got it. www.brownskinport.net.
Brown
Yeah.
skinned. So SKINNED, skinned
Okay.
poet. Yep. .net.
So I'm gonna share this with you, and what I would say, Stan, is get in touch with the conductor of the
Hmm.
symphony orchestra that you want to work with. That's how I got put into this. So um, we go way back, right? So this was the biggest one. They paid us $6,000 to do this show.
I ain't mad at you.
They as
The symphony orchestra,
paid
they paid us $6,000.
you
Me
or
and
the
the other, and I had 3 other poets with me,
Hmm.
uh-huh.
and we redid Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. So what you do is you have to start small. So we started, I wrote one poem for um for this thing they called the creativity train. And it started with a poem, and then it went to a picture, and then it went to a, a newly composed piece, and then it ended with a craft beer. That's where we started, just one little poem. Then the next time I showed up, I was like in the theater with them, and I did, no, I think I did 4th of July. And I read a poem that was already written, but I read it along with the symphony orchestra. The next year, they brought me back to do my own poem. So this has been building. I think I
Hmm.
did the first piece with them in 2017, and it just built and built and built. And finally, I was like, I want to do a whole symphony. And that's when they asked us to come and do Vivaldi's Four Seasons. And the reason why it worked is because when Vivaldi first wrote Four Seasons, he wrote poetry to go with it. And so what we did was we were like, oh, we're going to rewrite it. And so it was, Vivaldi reimagined. And so it's just been little by little. And then we did MLK celebration, and I did a poem along with them. And then they do a youth series, and so I would go in and I'd read fun poems about animals, and they would play, songs that had the titles of animals. And I'd do a poem and they'd play a song, and it went out to all of the schools all through the city. So I have a great relationship with them. And so it just goes all the way back. And
That's great. Yeah. In Gainesville, it is so is different. I'm breaking down because I'm on a lot of boards at the University of Florida, but one of the things when I because I'm late to this, I'm late to I met my wife who who told me I was an artist, and I'm like, for real? She says, yes, I've been an artist my entire life. You are an artist. You need to get that stuff that you've been sharing with me because I felt comfortable with her, and because that's her world. She's been doing directing plays, and she told me that I reminded her of August. My voice reminded her of August Wilson's when I would share some of my poetry with her. But poetry for me was just something that I wrote. I had to slow my brain down a little bit as a kid growing up. So when I met her, I had all these stacks of books. She convinced me to share, and then since then, and I just came out. When I discovered, okay, she held my hand, made me say, "I'm an artist." In the mirror, I'm an artist. Okay, I embraced that, and I just took off. So when they did the poet laureate, I almost didn't apply because I'm like, it's not for me. We have this University of Florida here. People have MFAs. They're like teaching poetry. Who am I? And then
but that page doesn't hit you. It does not hit you the same as somebody who is speaking their story. And so,
right. So it's a listen. It's still I think it's some resentment around a little bit,
oh yeah,
but
it's gonna be some.
yeah, but I just they had this, and a lot of times I get called from the county, but outside of that, like the UF University may have something. I get called to perform or to commemorate or to dedicate some landmark or something all the time from the county, but never anything from the university. And the orchestra, the is connected to the university, and so they had something last year and with an orchestra, and they had a gentleman, a guy from the university, and it wasn't that good. I mean, it really
And this is
wasn't
what
that
I
good
would
at all.
I would do if I were you, because our conductor has gotten so he got nominated for like the United States 40 under 40. Like
Mhm.
he is doing things, and what you do is you go and talk to that conductor and you tell him like Aram Demergen in Knoxville is doing big things with spoken word artists, and the orchestra, you want to be on that train,
What's his
right?
name?
His name is Aram Demergen. Here, I'm gonna put that in the
I know Sean did something down in Orlando with the orchestra down there. Sean Welcome.
yes. Let me see. Like, because the thing about Aram is he's been pushing the envelope. He does a little more and a little more and a little more every year.
Hmm.
And so the great thing about him is he brought in he did a whole African drum symphony, and he
Cool.
brought in the African drums, and they played um, this symphony with the African drums. It was amazing.
Hmm.
Where is his name so I can make sure I don't misspell it? There it is. BMI. Okay, there it is. Aram Demersion, and he's a conductor for Knoxville Symphony Orchestra.
Hmm. Okay.
And like right now, my son, because my son loves orchestra music, and he's a percussionist, and he's been bothering Aram for 2 years now to redo the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra.
Mm-mm.
And so he finally got the approval. He's changing it to the Young Poets Guide to the Orchestra, and I'm going to rewrite the whole thing to do that for all the young people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Now I did just
That look,
recently.
my son made that happen. Like it was at one of my shows, and he
How's
was
the
like,
son?
my son is 12, but it
Okay.
was probably 2 years ago, and we were at one of my shows with Aaron, and he said, Mr. Aaron, when are you gonna do the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra? My mom can do the poetry. So yeah, so my son is the reason that even came to be. But yeah, so my son, he plays a mean set of drums, but he's also learned how to play the timpani and all of that. So
Can I ask a quick question about the fellowship, the Poet
yeah.
Laureate Fellowship? Um, for the budget, it says 50,000, but then it says like it cannot exceed 15,000. And I know
Okay.
me and a few other people got confused. When I applied, I only made it for 15,000. And then I've talked to folks who got it and their whole budget was 50,000.
It changed. It changed. Like it changed. It was. I think in the beginning it was. I think when. When. What's his name? Who talked to me a while back when they did it the first time? His budget was $50,000 for the whole thing, and then
Hmm.
um
I
where
think
you
you're
can.
supposed to
And
write,
then they
yeah,
changed it. Now your project that
it's
you are doing,
15,000.
that budget has to be $15,000,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even put a stipend in there for yourself. It's just your project budget, and then the
Mm-hmm.
other 30 goes to you,
Yeah,
the
the other 35
the poet. So
Cool. Yeah,
what?
I've heard mixed things because I don't know who I connected with. I connected with someone when I first got into the group and they submitted for 50,000 and got it. Like their whole budget for the
the
project.
first one, yeah, there might have been Angelo when you first
Okay.
got
Yeah, Angelo. Yeah,
Angelo got it with that first one, and yes, their budget was for
Okay.
50,000.
Okay.
But the last two,
Mhm.
like I think Roscoe and Kanicki and all of them, their budgets were 15,000. The other 35,000 went to them.
Okay. Great. Thank you
so
so much. That was-
the people that got it and the people who didn't got it, who get it, who applied, what? I mean, is it just a toss up thing or?
I think it is because the poet laureate of Oak Ridge, which is where I live, and I was instrumental in her becoming poet laureate. She received it and I didn't. But I'm the reason why she's a poet laureate.
Right. I've seen some of the I'm going over some of the past projects. Some are amazing, some are just okay.
Mhm.
But what Samaj did say to me was they look for projects that are not just 1 year, that will be lasting, right?
Mhm.
So they're going to have some type of lasting component that it can continue happening. And I know that that was true of Angelo. Angelo still does that festival every year.
Cool.
Even though they funded it the first year, what it did was it gave him the groundwork to be able
Mhm.
to ask for um, money to continue to do that every year. So his festival is still going on every year, even though he got he got it in 2020, I think. So,
I asked for feedback when I didn't get it in 2022. Um,
mhm,
and they just said there was a lot and that was it. Like they didn't provide
yeah,
any feedback. So I think it really is just sort of a like smattering.
yeah, because I know, I don't think it's really based off of you being the best writer or any, because everybody's already a poet laureate. So you've already got a resume, right? You've already done something amazing to be the poet laureate of your city, of your state, or whatever. So then it just comes down to your presentation of your project, whether, you know, it's it's different enough to catch their attention that they want to put money into it. There's not the same group of people judging every year. It's a new group of people every year coming through and judging. So you don't know that the what worked last year might not work this year.
Yeah, I think this year I was saying that I think specifically, if I read it correctly, I'll go back over and read it again. Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning when I was trying to read over that thing, and I think it said it had to be the project specifically said it had to be dealing with addressing some type of issue with youth or project that was directed to youth. So I think that
Yeah,
was, I don't think in the past it actually, it said it would be great if it did, but it wasn't like it had to.
right. And then I know like Samaj, she did a whole curriculum, right? So she
What's
has
that now?
Samaj did the Samajian method, that whole her
Oh,
whole
yes.
curriculum, and so that's continuous. It's still going, you know. And that's reached outside of the United States. She has
Hmm.
kids responding to her poem from overseas and everything. It's amazing.
Cool.
Um, let's see. I'm trying to see. Yeah, so it says right here a budget for your proposed project. Um, they got a template on here. Your budget should not include your honorarium for your time on a project and should not exceed 15,000.
Okay.
And then the remainder is basically your honorarium for putting it on.
Okay. Cool.
You want to have two letters, like dynamic letters of recommendation. Um, it helps if one is from like the arts organization that put you in place
Hmm.
or your mayor or something like that.
Cool.
Um, and then I don't think it matters if you have like somebody else who's going to be like give you the in kind support and all of that.
Okay.
Um, because I've talked to people who had the in kind support and some who didn't.
Okay.
And so
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, because there's like, you can find an organization that will give you X, Y, Z, so and so and something like, is that going to like boost your application or not? But you're saying it
it's
doesn't really matter that much.
it's a hodgepodge.
Okay.
Who knows what they'll choose? One year they chose a bunch of acrostic, you know, thing or
Hmm.
ekphrastic. I said acrostic, but ekphrastic projects, and then the next year it was something totally different. So
Okay.
I just say true, be true to yourself, and you know, if you don't get it, there is more money out there. That's why I wanted to make sure to show you guys the other options that are out there. Because if let's say you find out in June you didn't get it, you can apply in September for one of the other ones.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or you can apply for both. You can get it and just stack your cheese.
Yeah.
Be like, I brought in $200,000 as a poet this year. Say what?
Yeah, there are some like where I know where I live in Florida, where here in Florida, there is they have some community project grants, but you have to it's a matching grant, but and it
Mm-hmm.
has to be like to tie in uh, has to be like a big humanities focus.
I would
Uh,
check with your city council too, because I know like in Knoxville, the city council, they have a special fund that they can just give it to projects if they like them. So your city councilman, they can be like, hey, I want to give $1,000 to this, and they can just take it out of their fund and do it.
Cool.
So there's a special application. It's called a 220 application in Knoxville. But yeah, it's just a special application. You put it in with your project, and different council people can say, "Oh, I believe in that. I want to give it 1,500. I want to give it 2,000."
yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate to have a private individual just pour into Art Speaks, and it was amazing. I mean, this lady's daughter participated in it. What and the child, she's at Columbia now, right?
Wow. Okay,
And
but
she
she's
was maybe
still.
in the ninth grade when she participated in Art Speaks, one of the first one we did,
Hmm.
and her daughter was in it. And I think she wrote a poem. I think it was around the time of the Parkland shooting in Florida,
Oh, okay,
around
okay.
that time. And
It's not a Leia, is it?
hmm,
I met a young lady who was a part of that. A
it's
Leia.
this is a white girl, white
Okay, no, this was a young
Jewish
black
white girl, and her mom just called me up one day and asked me that she wanted to get, some people have money, you know what I'm saying? Some people have like, they have like money that they need to give away.
girl. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this lady is going to give me like a couple $100, and she just wrote me a check for 5 grand. been giving me $5,000 every year ever since then, right?
Nice.
And so I'm like, okay. And she has a family foundation. Uh, and her grandfather started it, and he wanted them to pour into the arts and stuff. And he was just said, I want to give you some money. And then
Hey,
I said,
and
okay.
those
And I
are
had
the type
no
of
idea.
partnerships that you need.
Huh?
I said, those are the type of partnerships that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just amazed. I couldn't believe it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you
Just try to
guys
good,
so
you know,
much. I
try to
know,
do good, just try to do good work. Whatever
I
we
know
do, we
that
try to
you,
do it with excellence,
yeah,
you know. And I'm not, you know, I don't come from that era where people, you know, we aren't, you know, beggars, you know, and you have this element that wants to come save the poor black person, you know, you have that element, but we're like, you know, don't need saving. We just need the door to be, just show me where the door is. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
don't block it.
Yep.
Don't bar the
Well,
door. Just show me where it is. We'll get, you know.
they're doing a Black History special on me on February 8th. And her last question was like, what do you want everybody to know? And I said that Black artists work in other months other than February.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I said that we work in other months other than February.
right.
Like you, we do art all year. So you need to, pour into the arts all year, not just in February. We're gonna end on that note, and we're gonna say Happy Black History Month to everybody who may watch this. Sorry we didn't do any poems, but sometimes poets just got to be able to have a place to talk and share
Hmm.
information. So
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
yeah, anything that I have that I can help y'all with, I'm always going to, try my best to make sure I share that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I would say is reach out to some of the people who did receive it before
Mhm.
and, bounce your ideas off of them because they may be able to give you just like, oh, well, tweak the way you said this or tweak the
Mhm.
way you said that. Um,
One of the things that I wanted to ask before you go, it was the first part. Well, I think it was there like a statement or something like that at the top in the past, and then your curriculum.
on my resume,
You read the application. Where the application was there like a statement of and then
yeah,
followed by your curriculum.
the 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 submittable is just that's what I followed. So because all of those questions are in there.
Hmm.
So I think it asks you for your artist statement,
Yes. Okay.
and don't be afraid to give a little information on your artist statement to Chat GPT and see what comes up.
See what now?
I said, don't be afraid to put some of your information into Chat GPT and tell it you need an artist statement
Okay.
because it'll prompt you to get some of the things out that should be in your artist statement that you may be forgetting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So don't use it to write poems because it writes horrible poems.
Oh
But
yes, it does. But
but you can
I've used it
use
to
it
help me
for a
write.
statement.
I've used it to help me write grads.
Oh
And the
yeah.
key to it is the asking the right questions
Yes,
and
that's
phrase
exactly
and putting the right questions into the question the chat, and then and it will if it will help, it will definitely help you. It's helped me write some grants that help me even just stimulate how I want to word something and give me an idea about where to go with this.
okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming through, and I'll see you guys next month.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye bye.